Evening and a warm welcome to everyone here from Talking Films Online, TFO for short. TFO was founded almost on a whim by Professor Nikhila and myself in June 2020 during the lockdown. Since then, TFO has had uninterrupted discussions on films from all over the world every Saturday at 9 p.m. on Zoom. It is a group of film scholars, researchers, students, teachers, and anyone passionate about cinema. It has been our practice to invite people to select and lead the discussion of the chosen film, which we watch in our own time and place. On some occasions, filmmakers, editors, cinematographers have also joined our sessions. Aparna Sen, Amol Palekar, Girish Kasarvalli, and Adur Gopalakrishnan, to name a few. We have held film festivals such as East European, Iranian, Women's Cinema, and others. In the month of June each year, to celebrate our anniversary, we hold a smartphone short film making contest for students and a lecture series in various university departments. This evening, we are going to discuss a film called The Curse, and we are extremely happy to have with us the filmmakers Maria Kaur Bedi and Satindar Singh Bedi. Maria Kaur Bedi, previously Maria Sigrist, is a film director from Switzerland. After completing a bachelor's and master's degree in Zurich and a 6-month training in the US, she has continued honing her craft, working with accomplished industry veterans such as Susan Batson, Judith Weston, and Slavomir Idziak. Maria Kaur Bedi has worked in Switzerland, Germany, Poland, India, and the US. Her short films have been shown in festivals all over the world. Her poetic documentary, The Curse, which is the film we are going to discuss soon, about love and addiction, was released in spring 2023 and was nominated for the Prix de Soleil and the German Camera Award. Satinder Singh Bedi is an award-winning film director and screenplay writer. He specializes in highly artistic projects with a timeless quality. A graduate of the Film and Television Institute of India, his mid-length film Kamakshi premiered at Berlinale and was screened in over 40 festivals, winning more than 20 awards. Since 2019, he works with Maria Sigrist as a creative director-author duo. To lead the discussion of the film, we have with us Sachin Dev P.S. Sachin Dev is a PhD scholar awaiting his degree in film studies and visual culture from English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad. His doctoral research was on films made by the British in India between 1899 and 1947, their subsequent archival and recent online dissemination. He has made several documentaries, including the series funded by Crash, a University of Cambridge center. He is the co-author of the book titled Culture and Media, Eco-Critical Explorations, published by Cambridge Scholars in 2013. He has translated essays in the volume Eco-Criticism in Malayalam, and also translated the novel Barbarossa by Iskandar Pala into Malayalam, published a short story collection in Malayalam titled Mlechan. Welcome to Sachin Dev, Maria, and Satinder, and all of you who have logged in this evening. Over to Sachin.
Thank you, and wonderful. Hi, Satinder. Hello, Maria.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah. It is my pleasure and privilege to participate in a discussion with distinguished filmmakers such as you, and also Professors Geeta Vishwanath and Dikla H, who was my teacher at the university too. Um, I watched the film only 2 days back, and I think I should watch it again before actually making a speech about it. But um, yeah. So, am I audible to everyone? Yeah. Okay.
Yes, yes,
Uh,
you are.
so the when I thought of talking about the film, the first thing that struck me was that since this is an autobiographical film, before we start, I just want to say that I hope this discussion does not trigger Satinder in a negative manner, because there are going to be so many opinions and whatever, because we're going to be talking about your life a lot, I think. But I'm also sure that by now you're experienced in these kind of discussions as well. I am somehow focused on the addiction part of the film. I think the aspect of love is best left to the filmmakers themselves to talk about. Um, uh, the film start, the entire film are is made up of monologues, and the initial one, the one where Maria, we see her reflection, that those few minutes where she talks about uh, somebody who has had a good childhood and somebody a difficult one. Um, Somehow, uh, the person who has had a happy childhood, Maria, seemed sad, almost overcome with empathy, and uh, later on, the person who has had a difficult childhood, who is leading a chaotic life, sounded rather ecstatic, if not happy. So this was a contrast to me that stood out to me throughout the film. In fact, so I was wondering. I have questions about this. I'll ask in their due time. Uh, but towards the end of the movie, you understand why and how addiction affects the other person in a relationship, and how the other can help bring peace too. Uh, Is it okay if we start off with an interactive sort of session instead of me talking, ma'am? Because that's how
Uh,
I kind of
th-
structure it.
that's okay, Sachin, but if
Yeah,
you could just flag some discussion
yeah,
points to begin with.
okay. Uh, so to talk about filmmaking, the visual part of it, um, it's mostly this bizarre, blurred kind of abstract visuals that you've gone for, uh, which are disturbing to an extent, which are also very poetic. Um, so I think that's one of the things that we should probably start off the interaction with. Um, Also, uh, there's the part where Satindra's is having he's talking to himself. There's a visual like that, and there is then Maria's voice, and there is also the voice of uh, alcohol by that right. Uh, and there are different kinds of visuals that go along with these uh, uh, parts of narration. So my question there was, how do you decide which visual to go with, which part of the narration, because at first they seem quite random, but then though a certain pattern emerges, uh, uh, you could isolate the voice over the narration from the visual as well. So where should a listener look for balance if the at all you meant for a audience to find a balance between visual and uh, the narration? That was one of my questions. And yeah, and uh, how do you uh, arrive at the uh, not just a script, but at what point did you think that what you're working on is, shaping into a film? And how do you go about that? Was there a starting point for you, or did you compile a lot of work that you've done, and then, a film emerged in at the editing table, or how was that experience? Is one of my thing. And a few things that I really loved about the film is this uh, points in Satindar's narration where uh, what I felt was this feeling of ecstasy that takes its full form when he's describing, uh, uh, what I felt is most intimate moments of addiction. And they're scary. Uh, and because how can you ask, how can someone be so conscious of his addiction and yet be addicted? Um, so I wondered that about that for a second, and then I realized, that is the very nature of addiction. Uh, and these moments are described with great enthusiasm and energy, uh, the kind that you, at least I did not associate with an alcoholic, but it is also uh, the kind that created uh, a repulsion to alcohol rather than enticement. Uh, and the descriptions of your relationship with your mother, again, very intimate and empathetic. I thought, like, the entire society should be towards an addict. That was actually very inspiring because recently I listened to this podcast by psychologist Gabor Mate, uh, and he had this amazing insight into addiction, saying he said that those who have had a traumatic childhood, or somebody who has had to go through an extremely traumatic experience, are more susceptible to drugs, and they get more out of drugs than other people because of their suffering. Uh, he said the drugs are more appealing to those who have gone through trauma, and they. So I wanted to know what your thoughts are about that. And at one point in the film, you ask, uh, "How can an alcoholic justify drinking?" I thought that really uh, uh, gets to the uh, bottom of problem of addiction. Uh, I think we should talk more about uh, all kinds of justification that people uh, try to come up with for their habits, their addictions. But really, um, what you asked that question, how can an alcoholic justify drinking? I think that's a wonderful point to explore more. Um, yeah, I have a few more questions, but I think probably we should get into a discussion, and then later on I will ask.
Yeah, thank you, Sachin.
Yeah.
Would Satinder and Maria like to respond to what Sachin has said until now?
Yeah. Yeah, I think there are a few questions. One about the visuals, how we came up with it,
Yeah.
and the other one was about, yeah, maybe we start with the visuals.
Yeah.
Because it obviously has a very particular
Yeah.
visual quality, which we we discovered it through shooting. Well, we wanted rather to draw inner landscapes than outer images. We wanted to find images for feelings, for something which was more going on inside. So that was, I think, the starting point. And I mean, one thing which then we found out more in the editing is that, for example, you would see in the beginning, you would see my character, female character, more only in the light. I would be always in the light. When he's with me, he'll be also in the light. Over the period of time, I would go into the dark and he will go into the light. So there is just an editing pattern. There is this kind of development from the visual, from the I'm going to the dark and he's going to the light. So that is something which is where it just worked with the story arc. Yeah. So that I can say. Yeah, you can say.
Okay. I mean, about the visuals, we didn't want to give a specific face to the character or the person. We wanted to like the leave it in like such a way that each addict who is like watching the film can like the transport himself or herself into that, into and then like go into the stream of consciousness of their own life and own journey. How this happened was, uh, I used to like the close my eyes, and then the Maria used to do the recording. And as soon as I close my eyes, like I used to go like somewhere else instantly. Yeah. So I used to go into my childhood. I used to go into the subconscious, and then I used to talk, and I used to talk in like two like different ways. One is like how that I'm talking in the film. That other is how that alcohol is talking in the film. So like that was interesting. uh, like discovery for us. And then I always wanted to make films on like reflections and things like that. Like like I have like like a reflection manifesto kind of a thing. So that I told to her, and then for this film, it was like it was the playfully like decided, let's just try to shoot, let us just be free and like open, and just shoot in the shadows, just like shoot like the silhouettes, just shoot the reflections and see what happens. And then the process of like editing was, we used to shoot, and then the Maria used to like edit it just the same night, or the next day. And then from that, yeah, she will get an idea as to like what's happening, and then we'll decide, oh, what else should happen next, what else we can do. So it was a film which was like organically being formed, like on a daily basis. That whole process of like editing was also happening like the simultaneously. Yes. So I think that like helped us a lot. If it would have been maybe a different film or not, I don't know. If you had just shot through and then taken the whole material and then put it on the editing table and then decided to cut it must have been a different experience also.
Yeah, and even my character, I mean, the female character was not even in the beginning. I think we shot like even a couple of weeks or months without me even being in. So it was just about his story and about the addiction and his past. And did a lot about going over the senses. And because you have to remember the past, but you have to remember it like vividly, right? I mean, if we wanted to have it that way, and so we went over the senses. What do you remember? What kind of smells you remember? What kind of tastes did you remember? And that's then how he also came up with this like smell of the mother. And it was just so powerful. And then obviously it was like long recordings. So we had to read and make sure, okay, this we can put in the film. And I think it was always trying to be very personal, but trying also to always serve the story. So if it was not important to serve the story, we try not to put it in because then it's only personal. So yeah.
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 Now,
And
yeah, please, Satindar, go
no, no,
ahead.
no. And I was asking, what was that other question he had? He had another question, I think.
Okay, Sachin, what was your other question?
I think it was about how you gave a voice to alcohol itself.
So I think it came over this question, when because I was wanting to, I mean, I think the whole film was me wanting to understand what is addiction? How does it, because we fell in love, we want to be together, and I first just wanted to understand it. How can someone drink when you have children? How is it work? I mean, I just wanted to understand it. And then I think after one time he like relapsed out of the blue, and I was like, how is that possible? You know what's happening afterwards. So, and then I think he said something like, oh, I thought, I don't know, remember, it was, so it was like almost like a voice is telling him it will not happen, nothing will happen, right? So I was asked, oh, can you try to give a voice to this voice? And I think that's how the
Alcohol character.
yeah, that's this character then came.
We wanted to bring to light the alcohol character, and it's
Yeah.
like in the dark.
Yeah, in a way we felt also it's like this mélange à trois, this three, you know, it's a three-way love story. It's like it is the alcohol
Alcohol
and
was
the girl and the
yeah.
boy kind of thing. So it's yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, my question would be, how did you even think about putting out something so personal and so intimate into the public domain in the form of the film that we have all watched? I mean, was it for, some kind of a catharsis for yourselves? Or did you have some kind of a mission that, if I speak about it, somebody out there going through a similar situation may gain something from it? What exactly was your motivation?
I think it was a mixture of all what you said now. I think it's because it started that I wanted to make a documentary about his life, like because I was very interested in I just yeah, I just thought it's a crazy story about a person who is an addict who was actually started drinking with his mother as a child. I just thought this is so crazy. I want to make a documentary
Absolutely.
about
Yeah.
that. So that's how and he then agreed. Um, and I think this whole part, so I think the whole part in the now time that we are like a couple, and then that he relapsed, that was like all coming out through the making of the film. While we're making it, it was like happening. So it kind of naturally came into the film. And I think for me personally, maybe it helped me to go through it, because I think it gave me like a distance between what I'm going through and me, or it was just helping me, I think also. But yeah, so in that sense, and also I think it was important that we could take this time out and saying, okay, we're taking now this year or 1.5 year it was, I think, to take out and talk about this topic very intensely, and then we can just drop it. I mean, we're still talking occasionally when we have this kind of calls, but otherwise we don't have to talk about it anymore. We like intensely deal with it, and it's okay. We can kind of put it aside also. That's from my side.
I mean, I don't even know how to like answer this, because in some sense it's my life which is out there, and in some sense when you take it out it becomes like something else. It is not like yours anymore.
Yes.
So so in that way I like also then see it as just like a story of a character, and then even I feel that, oh, this guy is crazy. How can he do like this? So like in that way I get like insights into myself.
Yes.
And then the screening has had effects on me. Like I have gone into more like I'm in the depression, and I mean, like I had to go to like a clinic also, because we had a discussion in the Solatun Film Festival, where it was for the Sola. And there like I was on stage, and then it was all fun. Like I'm like enjoying all these talks a lot. But afterwards, I don't know, not consciously, but like subconsciously, I think it's doing something or not. That also I don't know. But then like that thing happened after that. So, but now I'm more aware, and no, I mean, yeah,
Yeah, and now it didn't happen
yeah.
anymore.
Now it hasn't happened for a long time.
Any more responses or questions from the others?
If I can.
Yes, please come in. Please come in.
Sorry. Yeah, here's my camera.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hi, Satindar and Maria. First of all, thanks very much for making available your film to Talking Films online. Really, it was, I don't think we would have otherwise had the privilege of watching this film if it was not for your generous sharing. And thanks, Sachin, for kind of responding to the film to begin with. Sachin has worked on documentary films, and also his PhD work deals a little bit with films that were made in India during the colonial period. So I just requested him, like a couple of days ago, to watch this film and respond, and he's done it at very short notice. My own response to the film, I mean, it was quite some experience, in terms of the usual way of narrative cinema, even documentary film, where you expect the visuals also to narrate. The visuals are non-narrative in your film, in the sense that I'm sure without the voiceover, the visuals themselves will not tell the story, on their own. So to begin with, it was quite an amazing kind of an experience to see what kind of visuals you have chosen to represent what is coming through in the narrative. The grainy images, sometimes it's just all color and geometric shapes on the screen. Sometimes it is fuzziness emerging in clarity. So the kind of images that you have used to go along with the narrative, I thought that was so fascinating. In fact, in class, we keep talking about, how in cinema, images and sound need not always go hand in hand, or images need not reiterate what the sound is saying. So your film is really a great example of that. So the anchoring of the images through your both your voiceovers made the film quite a viewing experience. Also about the genre itself, a few weeks ago, I think Fabian is also here. So we had watched Fabian's film, which is also, autobiographical, but she tried to, talk about it as self-fiction. So I was wondering, just before you responded, that was the question I really had in my mind. Should one see this as a kind of autoethnography, where you look at your own life as something to be studied? So where you were talking about how if you kind of begin to see that image on the screen as a character rather than yourself. So is it a kind of autoethnography, a way of turning the camera, or in this case, it's not so much the camera on you as much as the narrative that you construct? Or is it a kind of self-fiction? Initially, when I heard both of you responding, particularly Maria, kept referring to the character on the screen. So how much do you own what is happening on the screen? Or is it something that, kind of emerges as a result of the narrative? So these are characters that emerge on the screen because there is a certain narrative logic that has to kind of work out. So I had questions about that. And then the other question, again, Geeta kind of mentioned this point about what is it that might have motivated you. So I was also just wondering if filmmaking was also part of a kind of coming to terms, a therapeutic kind of a process of seeing what is happening to you by placing yourself outside of the context in some ways through the medium of cinema. So yeah, I had questions about that. And the last point, that I had, I was thinking about was also this, the mother-son relationship that comes across as, so remarkable. That is such a stunning aspect of the film, the innocence, the naivete of the child, as you as a child you do what your mother thinks, and it's also normalized. It's not seen as something out of the way. You think that's what other children are doing. I thought that was in a way it kind of captures so many elements of childhood traumas and so on, which you only become aware in retrospect. So thanks again for making available this film for us and joining us for the discussion today. So this is what my response was. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you,
It was very
Nikhil.
enlightening listening to you. Thank you.
Any more responses?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Ranjan.
Could I say something? Yeah.
Yeah, please.
I enjoyed the film thoroughly because it's probably one of the first really abstract films that I've seen, and it's tremendous for that because it captures what's going on in the mind, and the silhouettes and the fuzziness of the screen, right, is also talking about the mind. So I thought that was very, very captivating, and congratulations to the filmmakers. And also the question of drinking at the age of 4, right? And well, I also had a drink at the age of 5. That's something that but I've not become an alcoholic or nothing of that sort, right? But that was yeah. So I don't find that a problem, and it also took me back to a book. I think that book is called The Cardinal, right? Where the mother is an alcoholic, and this person becomes a classical pianist, right? And she teaches him how to play. I don't know now. I don't remember the name of the author. I think we can look for it, right? So that's something that also triggered off a lot of memories for me, right? And thank you. And yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Since the question of narrative has been coming up, I thought that even the sound design of the film was very, really beautifully done. Especially the cries of the mother, they were so poignant and so touching. And that actually really highlighted the trauma that the child must have gone through, and not just as a child but probably as a recurring memory even in adulthood. So I don't know why you thought of incorporating that into the film, but I thought it was something very, very poignant. It was really poignant.
First, I'm so happy that you recognize this voice as the mother's voice, because I think, that is very beautiful. I think because now we had it more shown to a Western audience, and they would have not understood. For them, it would have been just some voice. But I think, yeah.
Which one?
It's the mother's voice crying for you. I mean, okay. The one that Archie recorded.
Yes, yes.
So I think we wanted to put, because we have this scene on a graveyard, and so we wanted to start with this mourning. There it is, mourning women. So I think we were searching for
Like the
something.
Rudalis are.
Like the Rudali, yeah.
So something like that we were searching, and then we didn't find anything good. And then somehow I think this idea came of his mother calling him, and then we mixed that with some other, actually, morning sound, which I found somewhere. So and it was just, the effect was so beautiful. And then later, I don't know if you heard it again in the thunderstorm, she's
Yes.
calling him again.
Yes,
So
yes.
it's kind of between, do I want to go up or I want to stay here?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just, we had it more, first of all, only for the scene in the cemetery when it's about the death of the mother. And then later, I found it very suitable in this thunderstorm where it's just someone calling you from the past.
Yeah, so I think that puts the focus right back on this whole question of memory, how you memorialize the past and what it does to you, as a human being.
I mean, as you look at like the memory, like I have had a lot of like the regrets and also like the guilt.
Yes.
Guilt has been like a big factor that why was I not able to stop my mother from drinking? Like I mean that I'm a child, but still I feel that I should have been responsible for her. And then it creates a lot of like the guilt because when she was going to die, she called me. I mean, like I'd gone to the hospital and then she just like they called me for a hug. But I like they ran away from that place. I don't know why. But that was the last time I saw her. I mean, like alive. After that, when I saw her, I mean, she was in a coma. So, I mean, the last memory itself is me not going towards my mother, but like the going away. So, in this sense, I feel a lot of like I mean, the guilt and like the regret, which is like self-inflicted. Like I mean, like I keep on like thinking about it like quite a lot. In a way, this film, what it does is it like reduces to an extent this like guilt and the regret which I have, and that's what it does. And then this about the memories you're talking, like the memories are like this. I mean like the receding waves which like the come and go in the in this sense for me. So and then also like the Krishnamurti had said about the person not being the same person the next second. So we are all like the so many like the multiple like the persons from the time we are born till now. So but still we carry some image of like what we have been.
Yes.
And that I found was something which was coming across in this film after I saw it. Yeah.
Fabienne, I think you have unmuted. Please go ahead. Yes, Fabienne.
You can hear me?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
we can, we can.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that cinema, documentary, but also fiction have a healing power at large. And sometimes when you make a film, it can change your life. Cinema is, that's why cinema can be um, eh, something, an art. I mean, but we can say the same with literature. A book can change your life.
That is why it's called like the cinema. Ma is like mother. So it's cinema, so it can change you. I mean, the mother is there in it, right? It has the potential to change you. That's some kind of a joke, yeah. I mean, please continue.
No, this is the only thing I was thinking of, but I think it's very interesting and it's courageous, and we need this courage, because it helps other people, I mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
I
thank
think,
you.
yeah, thank you. It was also when we were about, I mean, we all at a certain point, obviously you think about it again, do we want to make this film now public or do we just make it for ourselves? But then, yeah, we decided to make it public because we also thought, one big problem there is mostly in the addiction that the whole family keeps it capsulated and no one stands out and say, hey, we have this problem in the family, or I have this problem myself, or this issue. So I think one part of the addictions big issue is that no one talks about it. So I think that is one other reason why we went out with this story and this film.
Yes.
Srinivas Lankala, I think he is also unmuted. Yeah, please go ahead, Srinivas.
Oh, no, sorry, that was by accident. I wasn't.
Oh, okay, okay. Any more responses?
Murli Krishnan.
Yes, Murli Krishna, please go ahead.
Yeah, kudos to both of you, Satindar and Maria.
Yeah, thank you.
For me, the film, I felt like a painting, which was quite immersive also. The painting was like on a canvas with very many bold strokes on it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, a lot of the images also stood out like, you know, acrylic landscapes.
Yeah, it was also while shooting, we were like, once we discovered the style, it was like, it looks like a painting. It looks like a painting. Like so excited. I was like,
it was so beautiful. Some of those green spaces, green, yellow spaces that you shot, they were absolutely like paintings. You know, they reminded me of land, you know, Turner's landscapes, and it was just beautiful. Really.
Yeah, it was really a discovery for ourselves. This kind of, yeah, it was just because it was just out of the blue, something I did and something came up. I was like, this is crazy. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other responses? Yes, Murli Krishna.
Oh, I did not unmute.
No.
Okay. Tarkeshwar, would you like to say something?
Yes. For me, it was very painful to watch. Maybe that was the intention behind the film too. The pain that the characters have undergone, that has to be communicated to the audience. So in that sense, it was a successful movie. The visuals also added to it. So it complemented the theme of the movie. And then the quote unquote voiceover, I wouldn't call it as a voiceover, rather, they were monologues of two characters who were in the film. So, in that sense, it was not in a voiceover, but they were characters speaking to us and trying to share something with us. And a kind of bond that gets generated through it was the aim of the movie, as far as I'm concerned. And this voice, these dialogues too, they were very bit slow. In that sense, they were making us sit eagerly to hear what next. It is not simply a kind of dialogue, but a kind of monologue having with the audience, but in a very slow pace. In that sense, the way the dialogues were delivered, the monologues were delivered, and the background complemented the theme of the movie, I think. So to that extent, I think they've tried to match the visuals with the content and with the sound map too. Thank you for the movie, and thank you for the discussion.
Thank you very much. You are talking about like the monologue and then the dialogue, and then the dialogue, yeah, with the audience also. So in a sense, when there are like two people and then they fall in love with each other, they are so much like the different people in the sense. So one is talking on one plane, another is talking on, I mean, like another plane, and then they have to like connect. And then after a point of time, it became it becomes like the same. So I feel in that sense it was her talking to me also and me talking to her also through the monologues, and then in that sense to start the dialogue between us, and then to also like the melt of these other walls, yeah, between the, I mean, like audience and us. So so like anyone who is watching is like welcome to like step inside and then to start a conversation with us.
Uh,
Yeah,
Tarkeshwar,
Getting
yeah.
No, I felt, because I never thought, and neither as a monologue, nor as obviously not a dialogue or an over voice. I always felt it was like an inner voice. It's like the thoughts. I mean, that's what I think. I mean, I think we try to do is that we are kind of just, you can witness the thoughts, like the thoughts of the character now walking through in the dark or something. So that was
the thoughts, the
the
memories.
intention. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm glad that Tarkeshwar brought up this question of the slow pace of the monologue. I thought that was almost designed to mimic a therapy session, because in a therapy session, that's how a therapist speaks, slowly, deliberately, softly, in order that the person who's undergoing therapy kind of registers it all very carefully. So when I was watching it, there were certain scenes which I felt actually mimicked a therapy session. That's how I saw it. Although in this case it was not that the female character was kind of giving therapy to the male character. It was not like that, but the expression of those thoughts itself, were like therapy for the other.
Yeah, when you like the voice, the thought itself, then the thoughts like impact and the power like the vanishes. So
Yeah.
in that sense, we are trying to, I mean, the take out, I mean, like even the darkest like hidden thoughts within us.
And I think a certain slowness we had to have, that you can follow, because you don't see anyone talking. You have only this
Only
voice.
the voice.
And for example, if the images were too fast and too much changing, it was too much for the brain to follow the story. I mean, follow the narration and still be able um, to see something. So in a way, it had to be a little bit, the visual had to be a little bit slow in the changing, because if not, you'll not be able to follow the narration.
Yes, yes.
I feel it could have been more slower.
Yeah.
Yes, Tarkeshwar, you want to say something?
No, I just wanted to add further to the discussion. The act of enunciation uh, itself is therapeutic in that sense. Because it is amorphous when it is within you. Only when you give it a kind of shape in language, uh, you achieve some kind of clarity, or you impose a certain uh, mm, kind of reality around you, which you can manage. Otherwise, when it is amorphous, you don't know what you are fighting with and what is around you. So it needs a kind of expression and an articulation. So that kind of articulation is always therapeutic, because it equips you to deal with the things around you in a particular way in which you have articulated. I'm not saying it is your articulation is always right, or I'm not saying that there is always a thought prior to articulation. The enunciation itself is a creation, which was earlier amorphous. The thought emerges after the enunciation, not before it. So it becomes a thought only when you put it in language. So in that sense, it becomes uh, a kind of uh, something that you can deal with. Until then, you can't deal with it. Thank you.
Yeah, because I mean, like until then, they are just like the sensory, I mean, like experiences. I mean, like you can only like remember that at that point of time, I felt like this, but then you're not able to, I mean, they talk about it. I mean, like you don't like articulate it. The moment you start to give a language to the feeling, then it becomes a thought. Is what how he's saying it. Yeah, it's interesting. Yeah, I meant to look at it like that also. Yeah.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Just related to what Tarkeshwar was saying, I was curious to know if you, already had a kind of a script for both of you before you began, or at what point was it happening simultaneously? You were writing and recording, or is it that you had put down your thoughts in some form and then thought of making this film? So what was the writing like? Was it meant to be in this form, that you will be speaking on camera? Was it like something that you just started putting down and then you decided to make a film? So can you reflect a little bit about the pre-stage or what went before? What kind of writing went before?
Actually, there was no like the writing at all. We didn't like the write like anything down at all. We just went ahead into it, and then to see like what happens. We just like dived into the ocean and see if we can swim or not. And then and then it started to happen. And then after the shooting, I think like a quarter or the half of the film or something like that, we thought, okay, now at least let us try to see what we want to get more. Because and then we started to write down that we want like this kind of a shot, we should take this kind of a shot, we should take this. It was not it was in the sense there was no this kind of the scripting of the story itself. It was like as she wanted to know more, as she was asking me more questions, and then as then we are going out and then like finding the images for that. So it was, I mean that happening like the simultaneously. And then yeah, it was like written on the, I mean by the pen of the camera itself. That's what happened. Yeah, you want to say something?
Yeah, the audio was basically intros. I was used to ask a question or say, hey, try to remember whatever. Certain times of when he was a child, and then, like I said, over the senses. So all what you hear is all intros, which is just edited. There was nothing written down. And then, like I said, my character didn't even come to the film until the very end.
Her character also came because when I had like the relapse, like during the making of the film, in that sense, then she like stepped forward, and then she was also talking. Previously, also I had maybe thought that she should come forward, and then but then we were not.
Yeah,
I mean,
there was no
thinking
need,
there
but
was no
then we like realized this is, it's not only about his past, it's also about
us now in the present,
yeah.
and it's like influence and effect on her also.
Yeah, I thought that was also very interesting because all the while the focus was on him as an addict. And then it shifts to you, where you begin to talk about the impact it has had on you. And you use that impact as, kind of the last straw to break the camel's back by actually threatening, that once more and then I'm walking out. So it kind of, the whole narrative then shifts from one character to the other towards the end of the film. Almost, I think, no, maybe in more than after an hour of the film.
Yeah, it's almost the end.
Yeah. So that shift also was very interesting, and it served the purpose as well. Even if you didn't have a script and it came up later, but it was a very effective element to put into the film.
Yeah, we're coming from fiction, so I know a lot about like how to build a story. So also, like he said, after a certain point, it's just a story, or you want to try to.
Yes.
Everything is true. Everything is documentary, and everything is one-to-one what happened in our life. But still, the way how you tell it then still, I think, got very much also shaped like like every story needs to be shaped if it's real or fiction.
And then you were talking about this like ultimatum. You said that she said that if you drink, then it not it, I mean, like she'll not be there in my life anymore. Still trying to then understand why. Then I stopped because previously I was not able to stop even for my children. Then how is it that this time it's happening? Though like I also take like, I take like like alcohol pills also like antabus like daily. So that also I think in a way helps. And then like this helps, this like ultimatum helps, but I'm still in a way trying to understand as to why it works. What do you think? That's also yeah.
That's a different discussion.
Yeah.
Yes. Any other responses to the film?
I have a question actually.
Yes, yes, Sachin, please go ahead.
Yeah, at the end of the film, you tell us about this cloudy glasses. How much of a metaphor was it, and what was the actual experience of removing those glasses, if you don't mind talking about it?
Yeah, there are many like the glasses of like different colors in front of my like the mind's eye.
Yeah.
One is this glass which is put after I became an addict, and then I started drinking, and I used to drink like every day until I used to the blackout, and then I was like drinking for years altogether. So like I don't even like remember like a conscious the moment for of the decade or more than that. So those glasses are also getting like lifted in that sense. And then other than that, like behind that, then is the glass of as a child, how the process things, how I saw the world through my mother's eye is what I wanted to see the world through. So I tried as a child, and then like those glasses are also there uh, for me, and then in some sense that's also getting like removed. So there are I think more other glasses I think which have to be like removed. uh, till which point I don't know, but yeah, it is not that I have completely gotten to a point where there is I have a lot more clarity than before, of course, but I have not reached maybe the point where it is like ultimately like everything is like balanced and clear. You're talking about like, the balance also in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So there is kind of an disbalance in the sense this, and then this like the disequilibrium is what uh, is like like defining me in some sense, I feel. So this search for balance, yeah. What do you say?
Yeah, I don't know. You have to, I think, answer this question.
Okay. Yeah.
And from a child who did not go to school to becoming a filmmaker, we see little of that journey though in the film.
Okay. Yeah. Because I used to go and watch movies in theater while I was not going to school. So maybe
Yeah,
that's right.
so you had a different kind, you had a different kind of training, right?
A different training, getting drunk and watching films as a child.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, Nikhila, you want to say something? No, Madhurima, you want to say something?
Yeah, just one comment I had. So
yeah, please.
the entire film I read is like a journey from an unstable state of life to a hope for a sense of understanding among the characters. What I liked the most about the film is the ending of the film, which signals that the journey is still continuing with a sense of hope, but also with a sense of uncertainty. I felt because that was signaled by the voice of the alcohol. So that I find very interesting. Focusing on the uncertain parts of life. And thank you for making the film available to us. It was a really interesting one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, the danger is always there.
Yeah, we found it very important that it's not ending with just, him like then stopping drinking and everything is fine. And then I think we found just this horrible, but also, I mean, for a film in a way, beautiful line, like let's play the game of time. Or you wanna play the game of time, let's play. And it's so painful, but I think
I'm still like finding it like interesting at times. Like I think about like drinking, and then I think what can one glass do, but then I know what it can do. So yeah. So but still, I mean like I take it like day to day. Today like I have not drank, so that is the victory for today. And then tomorrow like I have to start again, fresh.
Yeah.
The battle. Yeah.
I think it also is so important just because the addiction, you will never lose it, right? It will always stay with us. So we wanted just to have the ending. We just wanted to have something in the ending, giving justice to that fact that you'll never be healed from an addiction.
And I was like, I mean, like researching something about like addiction. Then I found that if you have been, I mean, like being on a substance, and then you stop it, maybe you stop it for like 1 year or 3 years or like 5 years or like even more. When you take the substance again, it is as if you have not stopped for those 3 or 5 years. It is like as if you have been taking the drug for that much longer also. So that impact like comes. That is something which I also felt, because like I had these few months in between when I was not drinking, and I thought, so now if I drink, I will be like starting fresh. But no, the whole it seems that the whole time, I mean, that I would have been like drinking. This is something that I read from some research, and then yeah, I found that to be true also. Yeah, when I relapsed.
Yeah, Sachin, you have anything more to
No.
add? Yeah.
No.
Anything else? Okay, if there are no more questions, comments, then it's time to close this session with deep gratitude to the filmmakers for making your beautiful film available to us, because these kind of films are difficult to access. And even previously, we have had some very generous filmmakers sharing their film with us. Fabian is also there with us. She had given us the link to her film, which we discussed a couple of weeks ago. And so from Talking Films Online, a big thank you to Satindar and Maria. And thanks are due to Sachin as well for initiating the discussion. And that too, we had to literally grab him almost in the last minute, because the person who was supposed to do it could not for some reason. So thank you so much, Sachin. And thank you all for logging in and showing interest in the film and showing love to the film by discussing it. Thank you all very much. Good night and have a nice
Thank
Sunday.
you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank
And
you,
all the
everyone.
best to you. And all the best to both of you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All the best.
Thanks.
Good night. See you next week.
Good night.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.